Hello everyone, good morning again, and welcome back to the Anabolic Kitchen. Today we're starting day one of our Anabolic Boba series. So, I don't know where you all are from. If you've ever been to the Bay Area though, you know that one of the things that you will see the most is boba shops. Now, I know that some of you all from various parts across the country may refer to this as things like bubble tea, or a variety of other things, maybe just milk tea, but here we call it boba. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you throughout the rest of this week a few different recipes for very common drinks or drinks that I know are relevant to people I'm around. And also give you a little bit of a tutorial today on how to prepare boba, as well as introduce you to a variety of other possible toppings that you may want to try. So let's start off. The first milk tea we're going to try is an Oolong milk tea, and we're going to be doing that with a classic brown sugar boba. Let's take a look. To make our low-calorie brown sugar boba, the first thing we're going to need is, of course, just some regular old pearls. One of the things that we miss the most if we're trying to cut this out of our diets is just that chewiness and that variety of texture that comes along with it. There really isn't a substitute. Keep it moderate. I'm going to be using 20 grams only. The first thing we need is to take some water in a pot and get that boiled. While our water is boiling, let's measure out our pearls. I want you to notice that I've over measured here a little bit. That's because of the little bits and pieces that are ultimately not going to end up in my drink. So it's just an estimation. It's being a little hand wavy, but it's okay. Honestly, this is probably an overestimation still of how much we are going to be using. So we're actually going to have fewer calories than recorded. Now you can see that our water is boiling quite violently, which is exactly what we need. So we're going to take our pearls and we're going to throw them in. We are then going to stir. You'll want to stay by the whole time that you're preparing this. You don't want to just set it and walk away. The goal here is to be able to get it so that they're just the perfect consistency. And that really is an art more than a science, and is variable based on the temperature of your stove, the type of water, the type of pearls, and it is really something that you have to experiment around with a bit. I also want to note to you all that I didn't measure out the water. I just put in an arbitrary amount. I don't honestly think that the amount of water really matters as long as you have enough. When you use too much water, you have a greater likelihood of boiling over, and it takes longer for it to heat up, so don't use too much water, but you also don't want to use so little water that you don't have enough to soak into the pearls. Typically, I try to get about a half an inch to an inch up on the pot. Right now, if you take a look, you can see that they're sort of dark, but they have a little bit of a light coloring to them. What you'll actually see is there's going to be a layer of darkness coming in as they cook. That's when you know that they're ready. While our boba is being prepared, let's actually measure 5 grams out of our Swerve brown sugar replacement into a small container. This is where we're going to put our boba pearls after they're done cooking, as they cool off the rest of the way, and it's going to absorb in some of the flavor from the brown sugar replacement. I don't know if it comes across on camera, but here there's still a lightness underneath that tells me that it's not fully cooked through and does need a bit more time for the water to penetrate the pearl. The darkness is definitely quite a bit deeper, so in a minute or so, we're actually going to just turn off the stove and let it sit in the hot water. Now, let's turn off the stove and let it just sit for a bit. You will want to stir every so often just to make sure that they don't cling to each other. And after a bit of sitting, now we're going to drain out our pot. And after draining, this is what we have. And we're going to put these into our small container. Now we're going to just stir in our brown sugar replacement for it to sit in while it cools. And there we have it. A fairly low calorie. This comes at around 50 calories. The actual nutrition facts are up here now. But a decent amount of pearls for us to use without completely derailing us. Now, let's take a look at how we make our tea. To make our anabolic oolong milk tea, we are going to need, of course, oolong tea, along with fat-free evaporated milk, cashew milk, a no-calorie sweetener, and a protein powder. To put it together, we're going to start off with 60 grams of fat-free evaporated milk and 240 grams of our cashew milk. We're then going to add the Oolong tea that we prepared. This has been steeping for 15 minutes. It's nice and dark. I'm going to squeeze out the tea bags. You'll notice it's still coming out to about a half a cup, and I'm dunking that in. At this point, we are going to add 20 grams of our vanilla protein powder and 7 grams of our no-calorie sweetener. Honestly, one of the best parts about making your own boba is that you can use a no-calorie sweetener, so you don't have to sacrifice on sweetness just for the calories to be able to keep up your boba habit. Then we just whiz it all up. I know some of you right now are probably wondering, why are you using a hand mixer to blend your milk tea when it's in a Ninja blender cup? And the reason I'm using this cup is not to blend it in this case, but is instead to provide a standard measured cup. A lot of us in the Anabolic Kitchen community already have Ninja blenders, so we have these cups in our cabinets. A lot of creators use cups that are not standard, where a lot of us don't know what the measurements are. And to me, I feel like that defeats the purpose of telling you what a recipe is supposed to look like. And at this point, we're going to add in our brown sugar boba that we prepared. Make sure you give it a good swirling around so that the balls don't stick to each other. And we dump it in. And lastly, to finish, we are going to add 3 ice cubes. So let's pop our straw in it and give it a taste. All right, so now that we've gotten that all mixed up, you can see what we have here does actually look just like milk tea. But does it taste like milk tea? Honestly, that's some damn good boba. In my honest opinion, yes, it tastes like milk tea. It has the milkiness, it has the tea. What else could you look for? Additionally, because we're using evaporated milk and protein powder, you can add as much ice as you want and it's not going to feel watered down. You would normally add much more than a half a cup or 120 grams of liquid in with your protein shake. That's already been accounted for by having the combination of those other milks in there. Of course, you could also make this completely dairy-free if you just use cashew milk, or if you use a combination of cashew milk with the concentrated coconut milk, but that would bring the calories up a little bit more. So, speaking of which, these are the calories for this milk tea, exactly as I have it prepared, boba and all. And this is what you'd have if you had it without the boba. So you can get an idea of what you're looking at. If you want to increase or decrease the amount of topping you use, that's totally up to you. As Dr. Greg says, there are no rules in the Anabolic Kitchen. Keep that in mind. And thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for the rest of the series. We have at least another 6 videos in this series that are going to be coming in rapid succession. So stay tuned for those. Before you go, don't forget to smash on that like button, hit subscribe, ding that notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Help push us to grow in that algorithm so I can continue to make great content like this for you all. And until that next one, always remember to stay worthy. With it being this easy, why would anyone spend money on it?